स्टूडेंट्स, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपके अपने यूट्यूब चैनल अत्री एकेडमी पर। आज के इस वीडियो में हम स्टडी करेंगे क्लास 10th के 6th चैप्टर साइंस विषय से लाइफ प्रोसेसेस, बायो प्रोसेसेस। एंड सो लेट्स लर्न टुगेदर। The first we will discuss now what are bioprocesses. In order to continue life, it is very important to have biological reaction or processes at the molecular level. There are always many biological processes going on in every organism. The processes that are necessary for the continuation of the life in any living organism are called life process. Means that process of the organism which is responsible for the existence of the life is called the bioprocess. And there are following bioprocesses. The one is nutrition, respiration, and transportation and excretion. These all are categorized as bioprocesses. And except this, there is a breeding or the reproduction, which is not classified as the biological process because it is not necessary for any organism to continue its life. If an organism does not breed, it does not reproduce in its lifespan, then there is no threat to its life. So if there is any problem with any of these four processes, nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion, there develops a threat to the life. This is why these four processes, they are responsible for the existence of the life. And this is why these are said bioprocesses. Now we will start the first in detail, the nutrition. What is nutrition? Nutrition is the process of getting and making use of the food by the organism. And there are two methods of getting the food, or we can say the nutrition is of two types: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. The autotrophic nutrition is the method of nutrition through which any organism makes its own food, is called autotrophic nutrition. Here auto means self and nutrition means the method to get food. If the organism itself synthesizes its food, it is said to be autotrophic. And all the green plants and the blue-green alga and the cyanobacteria, they all are found having autotrophic nutrition. It means the blue-green alga, the cyanobacteria and all the green plant, they synthesize their own food. And the process by which they synthesize their food is called photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? The process by which the green plant make their food is called photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, green plant take carbon dioxide from air, water from soil and synthesize glucose. This glucose is a type of a carbohydrate, and with the help of the chlorophyll in the presence of sunlight, by making use of the solar energy, the plants, they synthesize their food. The process of the light synthesis takes place in the chloroplast, and in this process chlorophyll plays an important role. Here it is chlorophyll that which plays a very vital role in the process of photosynthesis, and we can also say it a factory of the synthesis of the carbohydrate in the green plants, and it forms the source of all the food available for rest of other animals, directly or indirectly. The carbohydrate formed after photosynthesis is glucose, and the glucose is the monomer unit which is converted into its polymer starch, and which is stored for its further use in the plants. And the reaction, the process of photosynthesis is shown by a chemical reaction equation. 6 carbon dioxide molecules interact with the 12 water molecules to produce one molecule of glucose. 6 molecules of the oxygen are released in air, and the 6 water molecules. Why I wrote this reaction? Let me explain to you. I will explain it why I wrote this. Actually, in the chemical equation, according to the principle of writing chemical equation, it should be written 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O, because of the 12 H2O, these are consumed here and the 6 are produced. Ultimately the 6 water molecules are utilized. But why I wrote it willingly to explain. I will explain it later on. Just I explain what is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a complex process. The main stage of photosynthesis are following. First of all, the chlorophyll molecules, which plays a very vital role in photosynthesis, it absorbs the light from sun, means solar energy, and by making use of this solar energy, it breaks the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. And by this process, this solar energy is converted into the chemical energy. With the help of halogen, carbon dioxide is degraded with which causes carbohydrates. Let's see here in this diagram. This wavy yellow line, it represents the solar energy coming from sun, and it is this chlorophyll. Water molecules, they are the water which is absorbed here from soil. This water enter into chlorophyll, and in the chlorophyll light reaction takes place. In the light reaction, by the this solar energy, water molecules are broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. The oxygen of the this water molecule, which was absorbed by the plants from the soil, this oxygen is released here. And now the hydrogen ions which remain inside, they through NADPH, they enter into the Calvin cycle, and in the Calvin cycle the carbon dioxide gas, which is absorbed from air, also it enters into the Calvin cycle, and then interaction of these hydrogen ions and the carbon dioxide ultimately produce glucose. So this way we can see in the process of this photosynthesis, glucose and oxygen are released. So for this equation is concerned 6 CO2 and 12 H2O. Let I explain you again here. See here, in this equation, 6 carbon dioxide molecules, they interact with 12 water molecules, and they produce glucose, oxygen, and then water. Look, take a serious look at this. In the carbon dioxide molecule, I represent this carbon and oxygen with different colors to let you show something what I wanted to point out here. And in water molecule, hydrogen and oxygen are shown with the different colors. And in the product you will see this in the glucose, the carbon and hydrogen are these, and this oxygen from carbon dioxide. But this oxygen is from water, and the water this produced here is not that water, which this is the water molecule which is absorbed from soil by the roots. But this water, water is the same, molecular formula is same, and the thing is same, but the way it is formed is different. The water in the water molecule, hydrogen, they come from carbon. See here, I represent this way. There are 12 water molecules, so we can write it down. There are 12 oxygen atom, 12 this hydrogen, 12 this hydrogen. And because there are 6 carbon dioxide molecules, so we can write here 6 CO2 means 6 oxygen atom here, 6 oxygen atom here, and 6 carbon atom. Now in the light reaction, these hydrogen oxygen bond dissociate and carbon oxygen bond dissociate. As a result of this dissociation, these 12 oxygen atoms, they form 6 oxygen molecules, and these 6 molecules are released. They are directly coming from hydrolysis of water by the light reaction. This oxygen is produced. The point to note. Another. Now here are these 12 water molecules, 12 hydrogen atoms. They react with this one of the oxygen of the carbon dioxide. There are 12 atoms of hydrogen and 6 atoms of oxygen, means they will now produce this 6 water molecules, and in the water molecules it is reformed. It is produced by this hydrogen and by these hydrogen atoms and these oxygen atoms of carbon dioxide. Now rest, these are here. I explain you the number of carbon atom, they are 6, and number of hydrogen atom 12, and number of oxygen atom are 6 or 6. So this is what I wanted to show. So if we write down it, say 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O, giving you 6 H12O6 plus 6 oxygen molecules plus 6 water molecules. It is just to note you the production of these water molecules is some way different. So but just to balance an equation, to represent a chemical equation, because 6 are produced here, 6 are 12 are consumed here, so ultimately 6 water molecules are consumed. So this reaction is usually represented this way: 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 water molecules in a balanced form of chemical equation, 6 C6H12O6 giving you 6O2. This is the ultimate reaction. Now in this sense the reaction is right. Now another next topic, take a cross section of the leaf. The cross section of the leaf is here. The plant tissue, there is a plant tissue parenchyma, and that parenchyma which contains chlorophyll is known as a chlorenchyma. In the green plant leaf, this green segment is chlorenchyma. This is the parenchyma, a type of the tissue, plant tissue, and the plant tissue which that parenchyma which contains chloroplast in it is called chlorenchyma, and this chlorenchyma contains chloroplast, and this chloroplast contains chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll is the factory of the synthesis of synthesis of carbohydrates in the plants. Now the thing to notice is this: in this cross section, it is the upper section of the upper face of the leaf, and it is the lower face. On the lower face you see here there are some aperture, and from which the oxygen is released with this downward arrow, and the carbon dioxide is entering in the plant tissue with the upward arrow. Now what are these stomata? These stomata are called stomach and stomata. The stomata are the microscopic holes found on the leaf surface, and these stomata open or close due to the change in water balance. See, this is a pictorial presentation of the stomata. These two banana-like structure, these are the guard cell. Here it is written, and the green part between the guard cell is the stomata. Then that aperture for the gaseous exchange, intake of the carbon dioxide and release of oxygen, and these green pigments, this is chlorophyll. When these guard cell they absorb water, they swell up, and when they swell up, the aperture it opens, and we can say that stomata opens on the when these guard cell they swell up with this absorption of water, and when they squeeze and they shrink in the shrink and contract, the aperture is closed, this stomata is closed, and the gaseous exchange stops. And this is so we can say this is stomata through which the gaseous exchange takes place. Now what are other nutrients of the plants other than carbohydrates? Apart from carbohydrate, the plants also produce protein and fat. Because you must have known that pulses, all the pulses, they are the source of protein, and many crops like mustard, sunflower, the coconut, they produce oil, and oil is a fat. So apart from carbohydrate, the plants they also produce protein, and they take a mineral from soil, and the protein is made from nitrogen rich mineral. Nitrogen rich mineral is nitrate, and nitrate, the atmospheric nitrogen is converted into nitrate by the activity of the microorganism in the soil or in the leguminous plant, in the root of the leguminous plant. Or this nitrate is also supplied artificially by the farmers in the form of the fertilizers. And when the plant they take nitrogen nitrate molecules, they produce protein and fat. Now it is also nitrate also produced automatically by the activity of microorganism. Now the another type of the nutrition is heterotropic nutrition. Heterotropic nutrition is the way in which an organism takes its food from another organism. Hetero means different, nutrition method of and it means an organism cannot synthesize its food. For the food it depends on other organisms. All the animals, sponges, fungi and bacteria, they are heterogeneous because they take food from other animals. or we can say from plants, directly or indirectly. The heterotrophic nutrition is further of three types: saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition, and the holozoic nutrition. So first of all, what is saprophytic nutrition? When an organism receives nutrition from dead and decaying substances, carbonic dead and decaying substances, it is called saprophytic nutrition. In this type of the nutrition, digestion takes place before ingestion. It is the point to note. I highlighted it with a green color. Digestion and ingestion. What is ingestion? The intake of the food. We take piece of food in the mouth, and that you may say that we take a bite of a food in the mouth, and it is known as ingestion. And then the food we eat is having the nutrients in it in the complex form. Complex forms means our body cannot absorb it in the body, cannot absorb to supply to the cells for their requirement. So this complex form is converted into the simple form by the help of the enzymes. Enzymes, they convert the complex form of the components into simple form, and the simple forms means that form of the nutrient which can be absorbed in the body and by the blood can be carried to the cell. So it is digestion. But usually, as in in the case of human beings and other higher animals, they first feed and then the food reaches in the alimentary canal. There it digests. But here is the case different. In them, in means these organisms which take their food from dead and decaying carbonic substances, these are called saprophyte. These saprophyte, they digest their food outside the body. How? Let I explain you. They secrete digestive juice and they pour their digestive juice on the dead carbonic matter, and this digestive juice contains enzymes, and these enzymes, they convert the complex form of these nutrients into the simple substances, and then the saprophyte, they take the food, means these fungi and bacteria. When the organic substance which is dead, it is converted into simple form, then these fungi and the bacteria, they take it. So the digestion taking place first and then they ingest. So this is how I wrote here, and you can see here it is a mushroom, a type of a fungi, and underneath you can see here there are some substances which appears as they are decaying, organic decaying. Now another type of the heterotrophic nutrition is parasitic nutrition. In this type of the nutrition, organism get their food in liquid and ready-made form. That point is to note is that liquid and ready-made form. Ready-made form means prepared in the simplest form, which the body can consume immediately, and by staying in contact with other living animals temporarily or permanently. Means the food is organic material present in host animal. Host animal is that from where there is a parasite, the organism which derives its food from some other animals is known as parasite, and the animal which the body of which provides ready-made food is called heterotroph. Means here is the same thing. The organisms from whose body the parasite gets their food are called heterotrophs, and the example of parasitic nutrition are as the leech, louse, roundworm, hookworm, tapeworm. These all are the parasites. These roundworm, hookworm, and the tapeworm, they are parasites found in the alimentary canal. They also take the digested food in the alimentary canals of the animals or the human beings. When the food is digested in the simplest form, and then they take their food, and it is how they take the liquid and the ready-made form. And say one thing is common in them also, they also ingest after the digestion, because the digestion is taking out of their body, Digestion, because digestion is already taking in the body of the heterotroph, and but the difference between parasite and the saprophyte is that saprophyte derive their food from the dead body, dead carbonic substances, dead and decaying, but the parasite they derive their food in the same manner, liquid and ready-made food, the simplest form, but they derive their food from the living organisms. And in case of the plants, the another example of the parasite is Cuscuta. It we also say it as Amarvale. Amarvale is the example of the parasite. Take a look of this picture. In this picture, you see these yellow structures, thread-like structure. You must have seen them on the green plants. These are very common to find. It is actually the Cuscuta. It is actually the Cuscuta parasite plant. When it grows on a plant, it grows it grows on the green plant and starts to draw its nutrition from that, and ultimately day by day it grows and take control of entire plant, as you can see here in this picture, and this is how it derives its food from other organisms. Now the third form of the heterotrophic nutrition is allogeneic nutrition. In this method, digestion occur after ingestion. Yani it means this is the example in case of the animals of a higher digestive of higher organization level of the systems, and as in the case of human beings. In this method, the digestion of the food is executed inside the body of the organism, like the human beings. Digestion take in the alimentary canal of the human beings. All animals take food by allogeneic manner. All the animals, whether they are small or the bigger one, they take their food by allogeneic manner. The nutrition of the organism having allogeneic can be divided into 5 stages. There are 5 stages of the nutrition, allogeneic nutrition. The first is ingestion, second is digestion, third is absorption, the fourth is assimilation, and the fifth and the last is the egestion. What are these? Let I tell you. The process of taking food inside the body is called ingestion. We take a bite of the meal in the mouth, it is known as ingestion. And digestion is the process of the converting complex substances present in the food into simple substances with the help of the enzymes. Means by the enzymic activity, the complex non-absorbable form of the food components is converted into the absorbable form, and it is had a simple form. It is called digestion. The third process, after the digestion, when the simple form of the food components or nutrients are available, these are transported into the body cells. It is known as absorption, transported by the means of the blood. The digested simple form of the food is absorbed in the blood, and blood carries it to every cell of the body of the organism. This is known as absorption. And then when the nutrients they reach in the cell, they are used, and the use of these nutrients is known as assimilation. And the next and the last is egestion. Then after absorption, the undigested food and unuseful food that remains in the alimentary canal is released out, and this ejection of the undigested food is known as ejection. And the same phase they occur in amoeba and human beings. As per the syllabus of NCERT and CBSE, we have to study amoeba and human digestive system of human beings. Let me discuss nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba, take a look of this picture. This is a unicellular organism, means it has only one cell which executes all the process of the life itself. And when it has not any regular and it does not have any specified shape. It has not a defined shape. It keeps changing its shape, so it is shown this way. This blue part is shown as food. When amoeba notice the presence of the food near it approaches towards food particle, and it develops some structure like this projection like structure. These are called pseudopodia. and holding this food in between the pseudopodia is known as ingestion. It is like we hold the bite of the food in the mouth, same it's a mouth, and taking of the food in between these pseudopodia, it is ingestion. Now these pseudopodia, they meet from opposite side, and then their cell membrane, after meeting, they produce a vacuole. It is a food vacuole, this white portion, in which this blue portion is the food particle, and this is supplied with digestive juice. Amoeba, it some water and other digestive juices are incorporate are there in the food vacuoles. They they take the action on this food and changes it in from complex form into the simple form. This is known as digestion. Now take a look here in of the sixth figure. The coloration here in this picture is somewhat dark around this white figure. This is the diffusion process. This is the absorption of the nutrients. After the digestion, the nutrients are present in the food vacuoles, are absorbed in the body of amoeba, and it is shown here the process of absorption. Now in the next step of assimilation, the coloration is uniformly the same, means this absorbed these absorbed nutrients, they are used up for different uses, and this is known as assimilation. And when there is left behind digested food, the waste food, the food vacuole, it opens and the waste is ejected out, and it is known as egestion. These are the 5 processes which take place in an amoeba. Now take example of the nutrition in human beings. Nutrition in human beings is quite complex, for which there is an improved digestive system in human beings. Digestive system in human beings is very improved. Let explain. Human digestive system, it contains a digestive tract, or we can say a alimentary canal, and some digestive glands. This is why it is called the digestive system is complex, because it is associated with digestive glands and alimentary canal where the digestion takes place. The digestive tract or the alimentary canal, both are the same thing. It is a tube like organ that begins at the mouth and ends at the anus. Like a tube, it has 2 openings. That opening from which the food is taken in, that opening is called mouth, and that opening of the alimentary canal from which the fecal matter is excreted out, is released out, is known as anus. So the 2 opening of the alimentary canal are mouth and anus. Now following are the digestive glands of human body. The first is liver, another is pancreas, and the next are salivary gland. These are the 3 glands which are associated with the human digestive system. Take a look of this picture. In this picture, this is liver. This reddish structure, it is a human liver. It is the largest gland in the human body. It secretes bile juice. The liver secretes bile juice. The bile juice contains no enzyme, but it is just alkaline solution or an alkaline juice which emulsifies fats. And liver does not supply it directly in the alimentary canal. Liver produces this bile juice, and this bile juice is stored temporarily in a bladder known as gallbladder, and is connected with a duct with this liver, and this liver, when produces bile, it is temporarily stored in gallbladder, and when needed for digestion of fat, the gallbladder supplies this to intestine here. See here. Now this is another gland. It is a pancreatic gland, and this pancreas, if I zoom it, you will see there are still fine lobes here. These are actually the glands in the pancreas. These are very small globular glands, and these are glands with the duct. These produce enzymes these produce pancreatic juice, which contains enzyme for the digestion of all kind of the food, carbohydrate, protein, fat, whatever. And these are the duct gland. They pour their secretion in through their duct into a bigger duct, and this bigger duct is known as pancreatic duct. Now see here, this yellowish structure is small intestine, and this pancreatic ducts containing pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice contains all the enzymes for the digestion of carbohydrate, for the digestion of protein, for the digestion of fat. And it becomes a common. There is a common this tube which is coming from gallbladder containing bile. They two meet here and they open into small intestine. Thus, at the time when the food enters into the small intestine, pancreas releases its pancreatic juice. It starts releasing it starts producing pancreatic juice after it senses that the food has entered in the small intestine. And the gallbladder, it contains the already filled with the bile juice, and then these two are poured in the intestine for their action. Now take a look of this picture as well. This picture, it is consisting, these are the salivary glands. There are three pairs of the salivary glands, means there are 6 glands, 3 on the left hand side and 3 on the right hand side. Of the one side, let me explain this. The one type of the salivary glands are sublingual glands. It is here shown in green in this picture. These are the sublingual gland. These are present near in the buccal, at the bottom of the buccal cavity, below this tongue. And these are submandibular glands. Submandibular near the mandibular part, and they are the third pair is parotid gland, shown in this bluish color, in the purple color. And these glands, when food it enters into the mouth, it activates and it starts releasing saliva. This saliva, it contains in it a juice. It is contains in it mucus and an enzyme called salivary amylase. This so I will explain you. These are the glands, 3 glands I told: liver, pancreas, and these salivary glands, which are associated with the human digestive system. These are the digestive glands we studied. Now, phalanx are the main part of the digestive canal or the alimentary canal of human beings. It contains following part: mouth, followed by buccal cavity, which reaches to esophagus, and the esophagus it meets the stomach, and stomach bind with the small intestine. Small intestine follows large intestine, and it ends into rectum, and which opens out as a anus. These are the parts. Take a look of this picture here. It is human digestive system. The first opening is called mouth for the intake of the food, and the last opening is called anus. See here, it is to release the fecal matter, the waste undigested food. These are the different parts. The mouth, behind it, it is containing here a buccal cavity, and then there is passes between the, it is here, it is stomach here. This pinkish gland, swollen part shown here, it is stomach, and this esophagus, it connects buccal cavity with the stomach. And stomach, see, take a look here, this pinkish part is here. It opens into small intestine. Pink colored, narrow diameter, wiry coiled tube like structure is small intestine, and this small intestine, it is connected with another structure with wider diameter of more diameter. It is a large intestine, and the last part of this large intestine is a rectum, and it is the opening of the rectum. It is called anus. So it is a picture of the human digestive system, and it is liver and the gallbladder, and you can see here it is pancreas. Now we explain these different parts in detail. Before that, let we understand how the food it passes travels in the alimentary canal. The food we take in the mouth, it passes to alimentary canals and to different parts of the alimentary canal by the muscular contraction. In various parts of the alimentary canal, there is a process of shrinking and spreading in a rhythmic manner, which is called peristalsis. Due to this peristalsis, muscle contraction, food continues to move in the alimentary canals towards stomach intestine, means mouth to stomach, from mouth to anus. Okay. See, what is buccal cavity? There is a hollow part of the alimentary tract behind the mouth. The opening between upper and lower lip, it is this opening is called mouth, and from behind to this there is a hollow structure which contains teeth, tongue, and three pairs of the salivary glands. It is called buccal cavity. Take a look of this picture, and this picture you can see here that these are the upper and lower lips, and behind them there is a hollow space. It contains a muscular organ called tongue, and this tongue, it is connected at the bottom of the buccal cavity from behind, and it is free from second hand at its tip. And these are the teeth. The function of the teeth is to grind the food into small pieces, and the function of this tongue, the very important function, is to make the speech of the sound. And then another, when we chew the food, when we grind the food, it carries the food underneath the teeth, and so that they can be can be grinded well, and at the same time it mixes the food with the saliva. When the food enters into the buccal cavity, immediately the salivary gland starts to release saliva, and the tongue is mix this saliva with the food, and the food becomes very smooth. Saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase, and it starts to work on the starch present in the food. And so this way, the point to note is this: the carbohydrates begins to digest from the mouth. Now the next part is esophagus. The esophagus is a hollow tube structure which leads between stomach and buccal cavity or mouth. See here, this is stomach here, and this stomach and the buccal cavity from behind, it opens into this tube, and this tube, it is a passage of the food, and this food is carried to stomach. This passage is known as esophagus, and no digestion takes place in this. It is just a simple passage or a simple food pipe. It only carries the food from buccal cavity to stomach. It is just its function. And now the next part is stomach. As you can see here, the structure of this is like the alphabet J of English alphabets. The stomach is of J-like structure, and the gastric walls, they are muscular, and by the muscular contraction they grind the food into still fine paste. The food is already grinded by the teeth in the mouth and is mixed with saliva. It becomes softened, so it becomes easy for the muscles of the stomach to make it still fine paste. So these will keep on contracting and relaxing, contraction and relaxation, contraction and relaxation, and it produces a very fine paste, so that the surface area of the food to be digested increases and the digestive juice can work properly. Now, the wall of the stomach contains gastric glands which produce hydrochloric acid and mucus. See here, it is a picture. Take a look of this. This is the wall of the stomach. It is known as, in this wall, if you see, there are some this darkened structure. These are actually the gastric glands. These are the glands which produce a juice called the gastric juice, and this gastric juice, it contains hydrochloric acid, mucus, and an enzyme, and this enzyme is called pepsin. What does this hydrochloric acid do? Hydrochloric acid kills the germs present in the food, if any. If any, there is any germ, it kills the germ and make the food free of the germs. Now, the another action of this hydrochloric function of this hydrochloric acid is to make the environment of the stomach acidic, because The enzyme which is present in the gastric juice, the pepsin enzyme, it works only in the acidic environment. So the function of hydrochloric acid is to make food free of the germs if the germs are present here, and the another function is to make the environment of these now, what is the function of mucus? The mucus present, it protects the inner lining of the stomach from the harm of hydrochloric acid. And sometimes when hydrochloric acid is secreted in more amount, in excess amount, we feel a burning sensation inside the stomach near the chest, and we say it heartburning. Heartburning is just nothing. It is a more acidic condition of stomach due to hypersecretion of hydrochloric acid. The enzyme pepsin, which is present here in the stomach in the gastric juice, it works on the milk protein specially and digests it partially, and thus this is the point to note. The digestion of the protein, it starts from stomach. That digestion of the carbohydrates, it starts from mouth by the action of the salivary amylase, and the digestion of the milk protein or the protein simply by the action of pepsin, it starts from stomach. Now the next part is small intestine. It is the part where entire complete digestion takes place. The small intestine is a very crowded tube of a length about 7 meter, and its inner wall having finger like structure, and these finger like structure in the inner wall, on the inner wall, these are called villi, and the function of villi is to absorb the nutrients after digestion. The non-absorbable complex form of the food components is converted by the action of the enzymes into the simple absorbable form. It is called digestion. When after digestion simple components nutrients are available in simple form and absorbable form, these are absorbed by the villi. See here, take a look of this. It is see, it is your stomach, and the stomach, it leads into this pink colored intestine, a narrow tube, and this orange colored tube of more diameter, it is the large intestine. This is villi, and the red and blue part, it denotes the blood vessels present in them, and they are rich in blood supply, and this is why this blood, it transports the nutrients to the every part of the body, into every cell. So these villi, they absorb the nutrients after digestion. I just said you, the bile juice from gallbladder, pancreatic juice from pancreas enters into the small intestine when the food enters from stomach into the small intestine. Due to bile juice, the environment of the small intestine become alkaline, because the bile, its pH is more than 7, so it is alkaline in nature. Its function is to emulsify the fat present in the food, and second function is to make the environment in small intestine alkaline. This alkaline environment is required by the enzymes of all type of the enzymes present in the pancreatic juice, and apart from the enzymes in the pancreatic juice, it contains enzymes for the digestion of carbohydrate, protein and fat as well. Apart from this, the intestine itself produces some juices called intestinal juice. It also contains some enzymes. These both enzymes, they work in the alkaline medium, and almost complete digestion, it takes place in the small intestine. And when the digestion is completed, all the components of the food from complex form converted into simple form, and then they are absorbed by the villi, and then the after the these digested food are, all the nutrients are absorbed, there remains behind undigested food and water. What is not absorbed in small intestine, water and undigested remain, is passed into large intestine, and the large intestine, it is about 2 meter in length, But why it is called large intestine? Because its diameter is larger than the diameter of the small intestine. This is why, in this sense, in the sense of the diameter, it is larger. This is why it is called large intestine, not because it is. And now there is another question: why the small intestine is so long? To ensure the digestion of all the component of the food and their absorption, because it provides sufficient enough time for the enzymes to work on the different type of the food, and provide enough time to these villi to absorb the nutrients after digestion. The last part of the large intestine is rectum. Rectum is a temporary storage for the fecal matter, the undigested food which is useless, and from here it is periodically ejected from rectum through anus. And liver I have already said you about. Pancreas I have said already. Now the next process is digestion. The digestion is the formation of the simple form of the complex food with the help of the enzyme. I have already explained many times. In small intestine, the digestion of the various components of the food like carbohydrate, protein, fat completes, and this digestion is here under in the page downward is shown in the equation form. Take a look of this form. It is here in the mouth. When the food containing starch reaches in the mouth, the highlighted part is the enzyme. The salivary amylase, it works on the starch in the mouth and digests it into maltose, the simpler form. Now the food passes into the gastric area in the stomach, and in the gastric area the pepsin enzyme, it works on the protein and it converts this protein into proteose and the peptones. Now the food, partially digested food, then it reaches into the small intestine, the place where the digestion completes. You can see in intestine the digestion is shown in the four equations. The protein which is partially digested in the stomach, this protein and protease, the product of the partial digestion of the protein, it reaches into the small intestine, and in the small intestine the peptone, trypsin and the chymotrypsin enzyme, they work on this protein and convert it into a simpler form, dipeptide, and ultimately then these dipeptides, they are converted into amino acids. And now the another complex form is a polysaccharide. It is a carbohydrate, a complex carbohydrate amylase enzyme from pancreatic juice or the intestinal juice. It works on this carbohydrate and convert them in the disaccharide, the simpler form of the carbohydrates. The lipase enzyme, as in the third equation, you can see they work on the fat which is already emulsified by the bile juice from gallbladder, from liver as well, from liver, and this lipase enzyme, it converts the fat into diglycerides and the monoglyceride. And on diglyceride and monoglyceride, it still it keep on reacting with them and processing with them, and lipase enzyme ultimately digest fat into glycerol and fatty acid. And now we can say the ultimate digestive product of these components are this way. The carbohydrate, upon their complete digestion, ultimately gives glucose, the simplest and absorbable form, which instantly give energy to the cell. This is why glucose, which is taken in the you must have seen some ad on the TV. Glucose is an instant energy giving food because it is immediately absorbed in the cell and in the intestine by the villi, and through blood reach to the cell, there it produce energy. Now so glucose is the ultimate digestion product of carbohydrate, and the amino acid, these are the digestive product of protein, and glycerol and fatty acid, these are the digestive product of fat. So this is all about nutrition in human beings and amoeba as per your syllabus of 10th class science. We will meet again, we will be back with the next video on respiration. Till then keep staying with this and keep watching the YouTube, and you can find in the description box a link, and from this link you can download a free PDF of this chapter to read and to facilitate your study, and go to description box, download the file, and don't forget to subscribe the channel before you leave. Thank you very much. So viewers, I again request you, please don't leave the channel before leaving. Subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon, so that when I upload the next video about this respiration and other video, I will cover entire syllabus gradually with the time. And stay with this YouTube channel, and also convince your friends, as well as I will be motivated by all your viewers. More subscription, more watching hours will boost me with the energy to make more videos, and I'm committed. I will do my best to upload all the videos in time. Thank you very much watching the TV, watching the YouTube channel Atri Academy. Thank you very much.